Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast
is communicating with your clients and setting the expectations of what is going to happen, what you will and will not do. And again, it starts from your policy, and then it translates into the material you give them, and then it translates into the training that you do with your photographers.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform that's designed to really help you manage your day-to-day business and help you scale and grow your real estate visual marketing business. I'm Craig Magrum, host of the podcast. Always glad to have you. And you might notice that I am actually not going to be introducing the co-host and Spiro founder and owner, Todd Kivimaki, and that's because he is actually in Las Vegas right now as we're recording this for both the REPP conference with Eli Jones. He's going to be presenting at that. So by the time you're watching this, he might have already presented. I'm not sure exactly, but he's going to be there the first week in Las Vegas for that. And then the following week, he will be at the PMRE conference, which Spiro is helping to sponsor. So if you've never gotten a chance to go to an industry conference like this, either the REPP or the PMRE conference, I just want to encourage you, if you're really wanting to grow yourself and grow your business, doing real estate media and marketing, these are two great conferences to be a part of. I believe the REPP conference does have an online streaming or recorded option that you see view on that. PMRE, I don't think does, but make it a plan, something you put on your calendar for next year and invest in yourself, invest in your business. All right. So that aside, no Todd this week. However, we do have another guest, a familiar face that has been on the podcast before, and we're going to be talking this week about appointment readiness and how that affects your business. And here this week to help us talk about that is our VP of Production, Ryan Lieurance. Ryan, hey, welcome to the Spiro podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. Todd has entrusted us to run the podcast this week, so that's a little scary. I might not be asked back, but no, I'm very excited to be on as usual and to share my my wealth of knowledge from shooting 10,000 plus houses. Yeah. I talk to my wife and she doesn't care, but maybe I'll get out there and someone will love the knowledge I'm about to present. So I'm finally going to share it with people that are in this line of work and know what it's all about. So this is exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah. So your background, before you even got into real estate media and marketing, Ryan, you were in education, correct?
I was. I actually went to school to be a teacher, roomed with Todd, actually, our sophomore year. We did in our junior year. I'll leave it at that. But no.
But you're still friends, though.
Still friends. I taught for a little bit, and then Todd pulled me into this world, and I've been with it ever since. And my education background has come in handy with what I do now. Obviously, I train all of WOW Video Tours photographers. I was counting it up last night, Craig. I was sitting thinking about. I was doing the podcast, and it's been over 60 people that I've trained within WOW. Wow. Currently we have 23 photographers on staff as contractors, but through the years it's been over 60 photographers that we've trained, and we're in over 7 cities. So looking back, it's been a wild ride, but I've loved every minute of it. So, so that's my experience. The reason why people might listen to me is because, like I said, I've been in over 10,000 houses over my years. I started out as a contractor here at WOW. And I was also calculating that up. Nowadays our photographers shoot between 600 and 800 a year, and it wouldn't be uncommon back when I was shooting to do 1,200 in a year. That was burnout numbers. But
I was going to say that's burnout right there.
But we were young. We were ambitious, and
the key word were young. Yes. We were young.
Yes. I drove over 50,000 miles one year, and those were all legit. I didn't cheat on a mile of those. So,
wow.
So a little bit of experience through my years of filming houses, and especially this topic, I believe is important, not only from the business standpoint, because Todd's has always been the captain of the WOW ship, but I've been right there with him. So not only from the business standpoint, it's important, and Todd thinks more of that, but from the photographer standpoint, having a house ready is equally as important, and that's kind of where I can share my wealth of knowledge today. So.
Well, let's start it. We always share with listeners and viewers that the Spiro podcast is really about the business side of real estate. There's a lot of great channels, YouTube channels and podcasts about the creative side. At our heart, we're creatives, right? We're photographers, we're videographers. But there are some that strictly come at it from a business standpoint. But for the creative type that's really wanting to grow their business, we want to provide education that's going to help you on the business side of things so that you have a successful business. And you just, that's what we primarily want to do. So I want to kind of start the conversation with home preparedness and appointments being ready before you get there. Tell us a little bit, what is the positive impact on our business when a home is 100% ready to be shot?
Yeah, really, it boils down to three things, Craig. It's quality. Home readiness impacts the quality of the media. The next thing is efficiency. And we don't want to rush jobs, and we want to make sure we're spending our due diligence filming and making sure we're getting the best quality. But we also know that we can't just shoot one appointment a day. That's not a good business model. So efficiency, can we shoot more than one job a day? Can we go from one appointment to the next, to the next, to the next? And then last but not least is customer service. All of those things have to come together in great customer service. And not only the homeowners have to feel that you've done a good job, but then of course the realtors have to feel that you've done a good job, because they're the ones that are going to come back to your business and continue to use you. So those three things from a business standpoint, home readiness affect those three things. So let's kind of break those down. So the first one I said was quality. So you and I, Craig, can speak to this about the quality and how home readiness affects the quality. When you get to a home and it's not ready, your mind now goes from how can I deliver the very best possible angle in the shot to I got to move this dog cage and find a place for it. I have to wait on the homeowner to vacuum their entire house. Your mind goes from taking those great shots to then how do I get this house ready? And it, believe it or not, people are like, well, you're a professional, you should, but it really does take you out of your rhythm when you get to a house. So from a business standpoint, quality is affected. The quality of the media is affected when a home is not ready. Obviously clients will continue to come back if they feel that you deliver great quality. And a lot of times, even though, ultimately we're responsible for everything that happens in the house, but even the best photographers are thrown off when you get to a house and the house isn't ready. And I know you've probably felt that in some houses too, Craig.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we'll get into some real life scenarios and situations of how things are affected more towards the end of the episode. But one of the things that we do at WOW for our realtor clients is we provide them a getting ready guide. And we make sure that's a part, like one of the main things we talk about in an initial conversation with a new realtor, and sometimes even established clients forget that they get this. But we provide a getting ready guide right through the Spiro system. When they book their appointment with Spiro, the system will send them a confirmation message, and we put a link to the getting ready guide right in that notification that they can then share with their client. I've heard stories of true appreciation from the realtor and the client, the seller, and then the seller that says, "Man, you gave me a lot of work to do," right. But it made me smile because they get that they had the getting ready guide, and I know the realtor did their job in passing that checklist to them. But I reinforce in the seller's mind, hey, you going through this checklist is going to result in some fantastic looking photos, because your preparation is really the majority of what makes these photos good. We can frame a shot, we can edit, but if it's cluttered, it's going to be a nicely edited cluttered shot. So what you do is hugely important, and this house looks fantastic. You're going to love your photos. And that just always brings a smile to their face. And that's going to make them think well of their realtor, that their realtor saw fit to make sure they were fully prepared. And it just, it has good effects and good implications for your business.
Craig, you hit the nail on the head there. I don't think that, I know homeowners don't necessarily understand the role that they play in the quality of the photos. They think, well, no, you hired a professional photography company to take, and they should regardless, but they play a vital role in the quality process. Because, like you said, a cluttered room just does not look good. You can have the best composition, you can have the best height of the camera, the best editing, all that, but a cluttered room will ruin a photo. So the homeowner and the realtor play a vital role in the quality, and realtors that understand that and convey that to the homeowners. That usually results in the best possible photo shoot, and I love those shoots where you walk in and you make minor adjustments and you can go. But they don't understand a role they play, because the thing that hurts the most, and every time it's like a knife through the heart, is, well, your guy's the professional, and I thought he would move that pillow or fluff that pillow, and it's like, oh yeah, I wish I would have done that, but I had a billion other things, and like I said, it's very hard to switch from the creative brain to the staging brain, and our, I know every company out there, if you have your own media company, you probably have a getting ready policy, or we have a policy, and I'll go over it later, but and it's like, well, they didn't follow the policy, but in the heat of the moment, that doesn't matter. What matters is the end result. And it hurts when I know I did everything I could, and, I'm not supposed to move this, that, and the other, but when I get that comment, well, I thought your guy was a professional. Ooh, that hurts.
That stings. It's like,
that
I am a
hurts.
professional, but I am not a staging company, and I am not a maid.
yes. And there is the line is blurry. The line is blurry, and that's why it's always. And we'll talk about setting expectations here in a little bit and what WOW does.
Right.
But that does hurt. I take that personal a lot of times. It's, oh yeah, I am a professional, and I wish I would have solved that pillow that needed fluffed.
But all in all, a house being ready is going to just be nothing but good for your business and for your company. So the more you can reinforce to your realtors, hey, make use of this getting ready guide, communicate, make this a part of your listing presentation. We provide a PDF, print this off. That goes in your listing presentation right off the bat. You reinforce to them, hey, your house needs to be 100% ready, and here's why.
Yep.
Go through the checklist. Make that an important part of your presentation to a new or established client that you're working with.
And if you don't have a getting ready guide, I strongly encourage you to develop one, get one made, make it look nice.
Steal ours.
Yeah. Let us know. We'll help you with it. We have it on our website. We have it in the confirmation emails we send out when they order. We even have it on our WOW Watch tracking system, where it when it tells them when the photographer is going to arrive, they can click on a link on their phone and they can see it. In fact, it's so important to us, we're even going to develop an evergreen video with me on there explaining the importance of getting ready. So it's just one more thing we can hit them with of why it's so important, and it all boils down to quality, quality. And then the next point we talked about was efficiency. And I mean, let's be honest. Again, we're a business, we're here to make money. We're here to do as many appointments as we can in a day, while also upholding that quality. Though here at WOW, we never sacrifice, quality for efficiency and number of jobs. But we can't do one job in a day. We would not be a viable company. And so, having homes being ready makes and you can go in and just film instead of waiting. That matters. That waiting time equates to appointments you can't film. Yeah. If you're waiting at one house, you can't film appointments than other times of the day because you're spending that time waiting. So, the second major point is efficiency. It makes your business efficient and more profitable because you can do more than one appointment in a day. From a business standpoint, having your homes ready not only is a quality issue, but it's an efficiency issue. And I know sometimes people want to sit down and be at a house for an hour or two, but the homeowners don't want that. And, again, as a business, you want to be able to our photographers out in the field can do 4 and 5 appointments in a day because of the expectations we've set with the getting ready policy, and because of the procedures they follow. So efficiency is very important when it comes to the getting ready process.
Right. You're about scaling and growing your business. So you have to find efficient ways to get things done that impact your bottom line, and allow you to get more done in a day. Just like what you just said, Ryan. Okay. So we've gone over two points of the importance of a house being ready and how it impacts your business. What the third point being, customer service. How does us helping a realtor and the seller have their home ready impact our customer service to the client?
Yeah, that's a great question, Craig. And I think this is the most important point, to be honest with you, customer service, because that's what makes your clients. You can be off a little bit in quality some days. Your efficiency might not be the best, but customer service is what keeps your clients coming back. If you develop that relationship with them and they know they're taken care of and you give great customer service, that's what brings people back day after day. And so how is this affected by home readiness? Well, so if you're at a home, you arrive at a home and it's not ready and you don't want to tell them no, you don't want to anger that client. So you wait and you wait. Well, guess what that's doing, especially if it's your first appointment of your day, guess what that's doing to all of your other appointments after that? If it's your only appointment of the day, then so be it, but let's say you have 3 other appointments after that. So now you are creating a situation where you don't want to anger one client here because, the home wasn't ready, but now you're angering 3 other clients because you're going to be late to those appointments. Even if you call and you tell them the situation, you can maybe get away with that once or twice, but ultimately they want, they schedule these appointments at a certain time for a reason. They want you to show up on time. So it's just good customer service sometimes to tell one client, and that's a hard conversation to have. I've had those conversations, say, your home is not ready. You should see the looks on their faces. Their jaw drops and like, are you kidding me? You're filming this. I don't care. And I'm like, so those conversations are hard to have, but you don't want to anger the rest of your client base, So customer service, you have to make sure you're taking care of all your clients. Not just the appointment that you're at, but you have to think about all the clients. So readiness of a house it has a ripple effect, and it does affect, even clients that you're not at the appointment yet. It will affect that if the house isn't ready, you have to wait. Right.
Maybe we can later in the episode, maybe we can get into how to have some of those conversations.
Yeah.
What our photographers do. We call them photographers because they're doing video and photo. But how do we train our photographers to have those kind of conversations and handle those situations? So we'll get into that in a little bit. So, that makes a good segue. Let's go ahead and kind of transition now to how we train our photographers to handle home readiness issues. How you prep the realtor and the seller. I'm just going to kind of let you take it from here, Ryan, and walk us through what this all looks like with a home being ready or not ready.
Right. Well, first and foremost, you got to have a home readiness policy. That's number one as a company. Now, is anyone going to read the terms and conditions and the policies? Absolutely not. But you do. It is important to have a home readiness policy.
Let me jump in real quick there. Yeah. Just tying this back to Spiro, those terms and conditions in Spiro, you can set that up so that they have to check that and agree to it before they submit their order. Now, whether they read it or not, like you just said, is an entirely different issue. Yes. But you've at least covered yourself that, hey, I've provided the information that you needed to know before this. So Spiro builds that in for you to be able to have those sometimes conversations of accountability. Well, I'll put it that way.
Absolutely. And Craig, I'm actually in Spiro right now in the settings. It's under my company. And I am looking at Wow Video Tours terms and conditions right now. And we have a heading. It says property readiness. And if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and read our our terms and conditions. So it says the client is expected to have the property camera ready, that's in quotations, prior to the beginning of the arrival window. This includes all cleaning and furniture staging. We ask that you have your clients review the getting ready checklist, which again, we provided them multiple places. If the WOW photographer arrives at the appointment and the home is not ready, the property will be shot as is, and I'll go into that a little bit more. We value your feedback and input choosing the best angles to the photographer or to photograph the property. If you would like to give input, please meet the photographer at the beginning of the appointment or add notes in the comment section, which is another feature that Spiro provides, that they can add comments about their shoot, so they don't have to be there if they don't want to, which is super nice. And then absent your input, the WOW videographer will use his or her best judgment and experience to decide which angles will best highlight the property. So again, it's a little bit vague, but for the most part, we wanted to have positive language in there to say, hey, we won't film houses that aren't ready. And so with our readiness policy, we just wanted to stress though that, hey, it is important to have your house camera ready. And we define that in our getting ready guide that we give them. So again, it's great in Spiro that you can put your terms and conditions there, and every person that orders from WOW has to check that box when they submit their order. So that is very nice. But so it's good to have a readiness policy. It's good to have materials to give to your people. And then furthermore, it's good to make sure you train your photographers how to deal with these situations. Okay?
Right.
Training is key.
So what is training a photographer to handle these situations look like? You mentioned you've trained 60 some photographers. Yes. Obviously, then you've had to develop a system, having an education background. You've developed a way to train. Walk us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, first and foremost, before the training comes in, the hiring process is equally as important. Yeah, because hiring people that are good under pressure, that are good in stressful situations, and are good with customer service, that's key. I did a podcast months ago about the hiring process and how to hire and what we look for, and we look for good quality people rather than people that can frame up a photo, because I can teach them how to frame up a photo. It's harder to teach good customer service sometimes. So that's kind of the first step, Craig, is the hiring process. Then you just have to provide them resources, which we go over. We have a training orientation, a full day training orientation, where we don't teach them, again, how to angle the camera or the height of the camera or the settings on the camera. We teach them all of our processes and procedures and everything that they will experience out in the field. And the one thing that I preach, and as a company, we try to preach for the getting ready process is communication, expectation. Those are the two key things when you're out in the field, and even before then, is communicating with your clients and setting the expectations of what is going to happen, what you will and will not do. And again, it starts from your policy, and then it translates into the material you give them, and then it translates into the training that you do with your photographers. So what we do is we teach our photographers upon arrival that they, first and foremost, they have a checklist of expectations that they set with our client. Okay. So when they arrive, they tell them the basics. What am I performing? So we tell them the services we're performing. We lay it out. Hey, here's everything I'm doing. We tell them the filming order, which is very important, because the filming order will dictate how we go about the house, when we'll be inside, when we'll be outside, if there's drone involved, when we'll be flying that. We want to tell them the filming order. And then we always tell them the expected duration. And this is important because we say, this is how long we expect the appointment to take, because, they don't want to be like, are they going to be here for 2 hours? Are they going to be here, So it's always good to set how long. And then this one kind of ties along with the previous point, but the appointment departure time. Because if you tell them, here's the time I have to leave, because I have X amount of time for this appointment, and here's the time I have to leave, then in their mind, they're thinking, well, okay, I was going to have them, I was still going to clean and move this. How am I going to do all that if they're going to be leaving? So right away, it just sets the expectations of, they're only going to be here for so long,
Right.
So that is super important, is we set what we're going to be doing, our expectations. And then I train our photographers on, you set the expectations of the client. What is their responsibility for the shoot? And I joke with our photographers, I say, the only thing that they're expected to do is get the heck out of your way. Now, obviously, we say that a lot better.
Right.
We tell them that, have the client help you do those minor adjustments. And I'll go over our minor adjustments at WOW that we tell our photographers to do. But, have them help you. But then, send them on their way and say, listen, the process works best if you're away. Okay. And I always joke, I had my one-liners I would always pull out during an appointment. I would say, hey, I'm going to start now. And if you don't mind, if you could go to the basement, while I'm filming the first floor, unless you want to be in the photos, and then we'd have a good chuckle. And it's like, no, seriously, go in the basement. But I always turned it back to 2 items. I would tell my photographers that if there was any pushback of like, no, I want to follow you around, or, the house, I got to do this. We always tell them 2 things. Always turn it back to quality, because that's really what it's all about. Mm-hmm. I can't focus on quality as the professional if I have to worry about the house not being ready, or if you're following me, or any of these other factors. That's why we got to make sure the house is 100% ready when we start, because then my mind is now divided. And when your mind is divided, you can't focus on what you do best, which is taking amazing photos and video. Right. So again, it's all about, Craig, it's all about communication, expectation. So I train our photographers as soon as they get there to communicate and to set those expectations so they know. And one thing, Craig, that was insane is we never used to ask the all-important question. We would go there and we'd do our spiel and say, here's what I'm going to do. But the most important question before you begin that you should ask is the house ready? We never thought, like in the past, that's insane that we never taught that and thought to ask that. Yeah. But we have to ask that, because we would just assume it's ready. Well, you don't assume anything.
Yeah.
So before we start, we always ask, is the house ready? Now, if the answer is no, then we have to come up with and we have our, and I'm not going to get into our, the weeds here with our specific policies, but we do have specific policies of what to do if the house isn't ready. We have some options. We can film out of order and so on and so forth. But we never used to ask that. And I still don't know why I never came up with that. I mean, it's not like it was a hard thing to come to, yes, we need to ask. And that's okay to ask that. Is the house ready?
Right.
Because then you can get a game plan based on their answer.
Right.
But when you're in the field, when you get in front of those clients, you have to communicate and set expectation. Those are the 2 most important things. And ask the question, is your house ready? Mm-hmm. So it's those expectations that we set up front that have helped wow. Now, not every appointment is ready. I mean, that is one of our biggest pain points. We just sent an end of the year survey out to our photographers, and on there was a question about overall, what was the readiness of the houses? And some of them, said, yeah, the houses were overall ready, and some said they weren't. That is still a pain point out there. Right. But as long as you have a game plan on how to handle it, instead of just, again, like, well, okay, I guess I'll wait. But we've already talked about the ramifications of that.
Of waiting, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, some personal examples, because listeners and viewers know they've heard my voice and seen my ugly mug enough. I have a face for radio. I worked in radio for almost 20 years. But anyway, they know I do several things at WOW. The business development, obviously, for the market that I'm in, but also a photographer in the market. And I'll share when I come up to a house, Ryan, and it's not ready, and we find that alternative plan because we have to keep moving. I can't wait, again, because of those customer service issues, to appointments down the road. Then I'll pivot to, okay, well, we need to shoot as is, or while you're working on this, I'll start in this section of the house or this floor of the house. And we do that to serve the seller, to try and help them deal with things, put their mind at ease. We want to represent the realtor well. We don't want to be stiff and unyielding, because again, we're representing that realtor while we're there. We're part of their marketing team. So we want to we want to make them look good, make this an easy process for the seller. That's how we keep clients, and that's how we get word of mouth referrals from realtors is, hey, my photographer takes good care of me. So I'm going to do what I can to try and serve that seller well. But here's what happens to me too often, Ryan, and I confess, Ryan is my boss on this side of the job. But when I shoot out of order is when I make mistakes. I have a very, we as a team have a set way of filming a house in order. And I won't say every time, but there's been more than one occasion where, because I'm out of my normal track and I shoot things out of order, I will miss a half bath seems to be my problem. I miss it because I've got myself in this, regimented way of how we do things to, provide consistent quality. But man, when you have to make that adjustment and shoot out of order, now I gotta mentally check, and go back through each floor. Wait a minute, did I shoot this? And there's been times where I missed it. And then you have that painful conversation with the realtor. You get back and you're looking through your photos or your clips, and oh no.
That is the worst sinking feeling in the world.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And again, I've been there too, Craig. So I will confess that I've even missed an entire level before. Because it was a small little house, and it was one of those. It looked like a closet, and it was a stairway that went up. But because I got there and the house wasn't ready, and I was jumping around, and it's weird because sometimes you'll get like the photos of a room and you'll miss the video, or vice versa. Because of, again, our filming process. We have a very specific filming process, which I train on. And it's great, and it works 99% of the time, that process that I train on, but it's those deviations where, if you get out of your rhythm, you get out of your order, you get out of your process, is when you're going to miss. So I missed, 2 bedrooms upstairs. And, you beat yourself up and ultimately, yes, as a professional, but you have to be careful about putting yourself in those situations. So, I tell the videographers, if you choose to go possibly against the training, you are responsible for whatever the outcome is then. We put a lot of these processes and procedures and plans in place to prevent stuff like that. So, yeah, I get, a lot of times like, well, I did it for the and it's always I did it for the client and the customer. Yeah. It's, it's never been like I missed that room because I hated WoW or, like it was never like I was just trying to make Ryan mad. It wasn't that. It was always the answers. I was just trying to make the client happy, And sometimes by going against our training and trying to make the client happy, we actually make them mad. And upset them in the long run. That's that customer service. Sometimes it's better to say no up front than to have to apologize in the end,
Right.
And that's why communication expectation, we have to just set those we have to communicate and set those expectations with our clients. And some of those conversations are very hard to have, I admit. But I'm with you, Craig. I've missed bathrooms. I mean, even master bedroom. And the worst is when the client's like, how does your guy miss this? And it's like, I know I shouldn't have, but again, you get out of that rhythm, and you're worried about all the other things that are going on with an unready house, and you forget kind of some of the basics. And one more point, especially to business owners out there that might have multiple photographers, is make sure your policy is consistent. That is key. You can't have one photographer out there that'll give the client the world, and then one photographer that's following the quote unquote policies and rules, because that's going to create problems too. And that's happened at WOW before. We've had people, and again, they all do it in the name of the client. They're like, one person, follows Ryan's training, but one person goes and deviates, and they'll wait for the client to go to the store to buy light bulbs. and then when we don't, the next person doesn't do that. The realtor is like, whoa, your other guy did it for me. And then it becomes like, whoa, now you have a problem within your company of your policy. Do we follow it? Do we not? And that's when you can get in trouble. So, we have 23 personalities out there. And and that's why it's always good to have a plan and a policy in place. And that's why we continue to educate and re-educate our people of it has to be consistent. Because if you have one doing it, one not, one kind of doing it, one kind of not, it gets ugly. So that's also, I've heard that out in the field too. When I'm out there and I'm saying, setting those no expectations, which are tough, but they're like, well, the other guy does it. And that's when it's like, oh, like, what am I supposed to say? Well, he's wrong and I'm right. That's tough.
Right. For a real brief pause here, just for a moment of levity, you said we have 23, 24 personalities out there. I just chuckled inside like, oh yeah, we're personalities. All right. We're real characters.
I love every one of them, but it's yep. I love every one of them, but
we're human beings. Yeah, we're human beings. And especially us creative types, we can get real interesting sometimes. Anyway.
Right.
All right. Well, what about you? What are some situations you've run into when you've been out there shooting, Ryan?
Oh boy. I mean, I've been in some spots, anywhere between, a house. I was warned one time a house wasn't 100% ready by the realtor before we went there. And boy, he wasn't kidding. There was no, there, the only thing that was there was the floor joists. There was no subfloor. So
What?
that was a fun one. So we filmed it as is, but
Wow.
the biggest personal experience is just because in my early days, I would always go above and beyond, and it would actually end up biting me in the end. Is I would go in and they were like, well, this one room upstairs is ready, and this one on this floor is kind of ready, and then the one in the basement. So I would jump around from different rooms, and I would miss, and so that's when I developed WOW's policy. I'm the one that created it, and I said, for the sake of the client, for the quality, for the efficiency, for the customer service sake, we have to have this policy. So that's probably my, none specifically stick out, but I mean, I've missed rooms before because I thought I was doing what was best for the client and trying to jump around rooms. And now I draw a hard no. Now we have some pivots that we can make. It's not always just a hard no. Like you said, sometimes it's like, okay, this floor is not ready. Well, is the upstairs 100% ready? Okay, well then I can go do the whole upstairs while you're finishing sweeping, but like that floor has to be 100% ready for us, because if it's like, well, that one's not 100% ready, it's like, okay, do you have an area that is, maybe I can go to the outside and then come back in. So, so yeah, that's probably the biggest part. Personal experience is just missing. And that is it. I mean, as a professional, Craig, that's, you get back to organize your clips and you're like, I could have swore I took and that's a sinking feeling. That's a sinking feeling. You almost want to go back out right then and there and go do it. But, then you got to reschedule. And that's, again, from a business standpoint, that is time and money that you have to now go back out and reschedule this. And you might be angering a client, inconveniencing them, when in reality, they didn't have their house ready. It was kind of on them. But ultimately, because you said, okay, we'll film this as is. This is the kind of the back end you have to deal with. So,
Yep. All right. Some real world examples there. And just the importance of homes being ready and the impact that has on not just your business, but also the realtor's business as well. So, it's a topic we don't think a lot about how that impacts our bottom line and our relationship with our clients. But boy, this has a huge business impact, not just a creative impact, but a business impact for us as well. So like we said, feel free to steal our Getting Ready guide. The content of that, obviously we're going to want you to rebrand it, but you can check that out at wowvideotours.com. There's a Getting Ready link that you can check it out there. So feel free to steal it from us, because if you've stolen it from us, you've stolen it twice. Great ideas we want to share. So we want to help your business as well. Brian, any closing thoughts you want to share with those that are listening and just looking up how do I train my photographers to deal with any ready issues with a home? Any closing thoughts for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't stress enough communication expectation. I know I've said it multiple times and I'll say it again. That honestly, define your policy and then communicate and set those expectations. If you do that with your photographers, your clients, your homeowners, you're still going to have issues, but at least you have a plan in place. Right. So I just stress to communicate those and set those expectations. And I'm more than well, if you want to email me, ask me any questions. Again, I've been the head trainer here at WOW since 2017. I've been on the road filming since, I got to think about this one, Craig. It was even about 2010 is when I started. So, so I have a little bit of experience and a little bit of knowledge on the subject. Mm-hmm. So my email is ryan@wowvideotours.com. I'd love to, start a conversation with anyone that has questions about what we do here at WOW or just any specific scenario. I'd love to. My wife doesn't want to hear about it anymore, so I'd love to share this knowledge with somebody. So
there you go. And I just want to reinforce one more time that communications and expectations, do it at multiple levels. When I'm doing business development, when I'm presenting to a potential new client, I'm going through what our Getting Ready guide is and how we provide that to you, and include this in your listing agreement or your listing presentation. We put it in the order confirmation when that When that realtor schedules their appointment with you, we're giving it to them there. And then when the photographer gets to the appointment, they're communicating and is setting expectations there. So it's at least 3 touches where we're communicating these expectations of a home being ready. And even then, sometimes your realtor or your seller is going to miss it. Just realize that you got to roll with it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not doing it at least at those 3 steps, then part of it falls on us if we're not setting those things, and we're setting our clients up for failure and the sellers up for failure. And nobody likes that. So good insight, Ryan. Thanks for joining us this week.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Craig. Thank you so much.
Yeah. If you have questions about home readiness or anything related to that, feel free to drop us an email. You can email Ryan at wowvideotours.com. You can also drop us a line at hello@spiro.media. We're happy to answer questions there as well. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to share a comment. We'd love to hear some horror stories. We all like to hear stories, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, leave a comment because a house with no subfloor. There's got to be more crazy stories like that out there. Yep. So feel free to leave some comments. Let's have some fun with this because we're all experiencing this. We're all in the same industry. We get it. That's one of the things I like about those conferences, Ryan, is you meet other photographers in person and you realize, hey, I'm not alone in this. There's actually somebody else dealing with these same stupid issues that I'm dealing with. Yep. But leave a comment. So Ryan, again, thanks for joining us this week. All right. Those of you, thank you for joining and listening or watching the podcast. If you found this beneficial, we just want to encourage you, share it with others. Click that like button. That helps us get this in front of more people in the real estate media industry. Be sure to share it. And like I said, leave a comment. And if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love to hear from you. Until then, just make sure you take time, like Ryan said, take time with family, with friends, relationships, people. And we're entering into this Thanksgiving season. And I always try to encourage you, just be thankful for what you have and make sure that this week you take a breath. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.